collect these guys because they just shoot down when you go for them.
Yeah. Yeah, they're really tough. We did some tube anemone. Oh, you know, these. It was really difficult. We suctioned them, and it was like hit and miss. Sometimes you'd get it, sometimes you wouldn't.
I think that's as much down as I can get for you guys, so let's go ahead and push on in there, please. Get a little
Excellent.
more angle down. Interesting.
Ooh.
Very feathery.
Thank you.
Pull wide, please.
Pull wide.
I got a camera too.
Sorry. There.
In the chat, Tina is pointing out that that second row of tentacles that was right around the mouth is actually the defining character of the Cerantheria, the tube anemones. It's one of the ways you can tell that's what you're looking at.
Dual move there.
Bridge nav, 40 meters, 240.
Fly trap anemone on a black coral there.
There's also a sea star on a bamboo there.
Oh yeah.
Go ahead and push on in there, please.
Wow. It's kind of chunky.
One of them got so fat it just slid down the bamboo.
Let's see. Yeah. Maybe he hasn't started because there's still some polyps up above, eh?
There's no way he could be hungry.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
Is
Yeah.
there anywhere that he's eaten? Negative. Okay, pull wide, please.
Unless he only ate a few at the bottom and then slid back down. So this tree's not for me.
Yeah, so we're just about on the lip of the summit. Surprisingly, not that much coral up here. And so we can prepare to descend whenever you guys are ready to go.
Okay, did we still want to do a Niskin up
Oh, yeah, sorry.
this contour? I'll get us right on the line. And then
Yeah, we can do one here, and if nothing else, it'll be background.
Okay.
Roger. We're so close to the line. I feel like
Got some sponges.
2 meters now.
Okay.
Actually, there's some coral right to the left, so we're coming into a better area for the Niskin.
Come right over the top, and suddenly there's coral.
Oh, wow.
Do you guys want to wait for that swing to be felt before we take the Niskin?
I think we're gonna pick
Whoa,
up
jellyfish.
Oh, jelly. We'll pick up about the same stuff, regardless of whether the swing
Roger.
comes through.
All right, so is this kind of this altitude here, kind of
Yeah,
close to
this
these
would
corals?
be just fine.
Gotcha.
Got some Chrysogorgia, their yellow Plexaurid and or Acanthogorgia in the back. And some black corals, which I actually have my first set of eDNA primers for black corals now, but I haven't tested them yet, so I don't know if they work.
All right, I'm full rack back.
I turned off the
Roger.
bender and sense and okay. Okay. Raj. Coming on.
Roger.
I want the green guy.
Yeah.
It's just really tucked down in there, isn't it?
Nice. Popped.
Raj.
Cool. And Chris, what's going to be our recovery heading?
This?
Raj.
Roger.
Yeah. So
Which bottle did
090.
we just take from?
That was
Went
number
into
5.
Thanks.
090.
Mhm.
Roger.
Okay.
So that is the end of the dive, folks.
Wait, we had already used 5. Was that 6 or 7?
No, that was, we had done 6 last. We did 5 just now.
Oh, I see. I wrote it wrong on the sheet. Thanks.
No problem.
Well, thank you all for joining us on the seafloor. We're going to be ascending back up to the ship. Then we have a 17-hour transit because we're going over to the western side of the monument, where we're going to potentially, weather permitting, dive on some very deep fracture zones. About as deep as Herc can go. We're going to dive down to 3950, weather permitting, meters below sea level. So I hope to see you then. And feel free to hang out as we descend up, or ascend up and descend into madness.
Well, they've got to sample all the, got to go into the wet lab right after this.
Yep, and it'll be right as watch ends, we'll be headed into the wet lab to process samples.
Well, at least we made it to the waypoint 4 contour and top of the mound. No, all y'all. You and Chris. Zippity sampling.
You're on your own.
Thank you.
I didn't do that intentionally. I'm really sorry.
All right.
I don't know what that thinks it's doing, looking at me, but I don't want it. It's like really locked there. Yeah. I got this.
Actually, we got to see most of the top of this thing because we're still getting stretched out for recovery.
Yeah, I actually got a very nice tour of it.
That's it. That's the top.
Yep, here's the
Yeah.
topmost elevation.
The top of the top, and then it goes to sediment. Woohoo, we didn't miss much. All right, let's get out of here. All right,
This is probably actually the old caldera that's infilled with sediment.
let's do it. I'm gonna start. All right, Chica.
You want me to wait for you to come up and then I'll keep going, or
Yeah,
just
you
go?
Yeah.
Just go, Raj.
I'm at 100% beans.
All the beans, Raj.
$17 without any laterals. Nice.
Oh, lovely. $14, $15. Yeah, 95-ish. 90 minutes. 85-ish. Depends. It'll be variable speed, somewhere between 80 and 90 minutes.
Yeah, that'll be good.
Last night, apparently, they got some good squid on the ascent, so hopefully we'll get
Cool.
some charismatic megafauna.
Yeah, sometimes they're really attracted to the lights.
Yeah.
Sometimes it makes it difficult to work, actually. We would like turn off all the lights on Herc and leave them on. It was Argus at the time. So that they would come over to Argus so that Herc could turn its light back on and see what it was doing.
I've done some work where the vehicles were surrounded by krill, and that brought in like canary rockfish, and they were just everywhere.
What does a canary rockfish look like? Does it look like your standard rockfish?
Standard rockfish, but with bright yellow stripes.
Ooh. Oh, wow. Me gusta. Preferred even. Oh.
Thank you.
Just solidly snack time, huh?
How's that?
So how'd you guys get into the ROV biz? Yes.
By accident. I took a class so I have my associates from a community college, and that's it. And I think that's important to like say to the internet, because if I can do it, anybody can do it. I did not need this class called Oceanographic Technology. I didn't really know what it was. I had other classes I needed to take, but there was this guy coming to the tutoring center that was like, you gotta take this class, man, you gotta take this class. You just gotta take this class. And I took it just to shut him up, really. And it was just so interesting. I didn't know that there was like an intersection between engineering and the ocean. And I had been looking for like what discipline of engineering, like what field I was gonna do. And nothing felt really like natural. And when I started learning about oceanographic technology, I wanted to know more about it. So one of the things I had like to do this little presentation on the USS Tuscarora in 1874, Captain George Belknap, and they were using the Thompson sounding device to do deep sea soundings with basically like a lead, like a piano wire with lead at the end of it. And I was reading their logbook when they had found some trenches off the coast in the Pacific, and they were just like, they thought their data was wrong initially, because they were like, it's just increasing in depth so much in such a short span. We're running out of piano wire. Like this, maybe there's a error in our calculations, and they ended up finding a trench, and it was so like exciting to read off the page from their logbook. And that was 1874, so I was thinking like, what do we use now for technology to do that? And what have we discovered since then? And what is there left to discover? And in what ways can technologies advance? So I ended up applying to the Nautilus internship program. And coming out to sea, I never had any at-sea experience. And I've been in industry doing different kinds of vehicle work, technical work, ROV contracting since then. If I can do it, anybody can do it. But, oh, I want to say, like, if anybody's like, I like that, but I don't know how to get my life to give me some skills that apply to it. Look at the biography pages on the Nautilus Live website, because there are a lot of different ways to get into this, and everybody's sort of ladder is identified on those biography pages, so you can find some interests that might align with yours, some programs that you might want to look into that other people have pursued. That's what I actually did, like, as I was an intern. I looked at those pages to see like what things I could identify with and what were avenues I could pursue to like keep qualifying myself for this and like keep building on my experiences. Jessica, how did you get into this?
Oh no, that's a great story. I was just sort of contemplating that. Yeah, like I was like, so what else have you found on those bio pages that sort of like lead you into your next direction?
That not everybody needed to have like advanced degrees, that you could be like technical or like in industry and apply that knowledge, and that really that we are all human. Like my internship was, okay, so I checked out the bio of the intern that came on before me, and he was like super NASA PhD smart man, and I felt very insecure by comparing myself to him. But then we have those little parts of the bio that are like, what do you like to do for fun? Like, what are your hobbies? And people are just people, and we're all just really passionate about these different avenues in life that we're pursuing. And it helped me. I had a professor that said, like, they're just like us. They're just like us, like the people that he worked with at sea. And I didn't believe him because I didn't know anybody that did it. And I thought, you have to be extraordinary or you have to be advantaged. But we are just people, and they are just like us, and anybody can do this.
That's a good one to go. It's a good
Great message, yeah.
message out, yeah. There's a lot of folks on the ROV team that like have like interesting paths to getting into that space.
Yeah.
Some folks, yeah, some people come more standard with like the ocean engineering degrees, and some Navy first, or, you know, a lot of different routes.
I might slow down just a wee bit over the lumpus, yeah?
Yeah, sounds good. I'm trying to get
It's a technical term.
Yeah, I'm familiar.
lumpus.
Oh, and does the internet have any questions for us?
Yeah, I was just filtering through some questions. So let's see. Okay, here's a question for our ROV pilots. Is it easy to lose your whereabouts when piloting the ROV? For example, bump into a sheer face as you misjudge the distance. Is that easy or possible?
You want to go?
Yeah, we can, yeah. So for navigation on the seafloor, we have a lot of really cool tools and instrumentation. You probably hear us say DVL reset and our USPL pings. These are ways for us to kind of get, DVL is kind of a local, high precision local spatial awareness, if you will. Then USPL is more of like, as Chris was saying the other night, like a GPS of the ocean, seafloor. So those are kind of two ways that we can navigate around. So that makes us not feel lost, because we have also a map that we're overlaying this against, so we can tell when cliff faces are coming up and all. And we have sonars that can also help us that. Yeah, so those are all kind of the tools that we use so that we don't get kind of turned around or putting in the vehicles and potentially jeopardizing position.
Yeah. And I think it's worth saying that, like, we can know pretty well where we are. Like, latitude and longitude and like where the vehicles are relative to each other, but we're going into a place that we don't necessarily have a great idea of what it looks like. So it takes a lot of sort of mental gymnastics to juggle the sonar picture with where Hercules is. And okay, so yeah, it's like, so we look at the sonar and we see, okay, well, there's a cliff there in Argus. Where does that mean relative to Herc? How is Argus oriented? And and we have a number of tools to do that, but that, yeah, I think that's probably the harder part in terms of navigation.
Yeah.
Yeah, like perceiving all the inputs and making it mean something
Yeah,
real.
yeah. Latitude and longitude doesn't do you a whole lot of good without a map. See what I did there?
Great. Beautiful.
Right. It's right here. That button. Good to know.
Hey, Chanel.
Yeah, what's up?
You've been on Nautilus for a week now. Let's hear some highlights.
Ooh. I mean, the first one that came to mind is embarrassingly the Oreos we had for lunch today. That was incredible.
Oh, you mean the ice cream sundae?
Yeah.
just happen to have one handy.
Yeah.
Okay.
For anyone not in the control van, Kylie pulls out an Oreo out of her jacket pocket just now.
That's amazing.
So it's a long time till next Sunday, right?
That was beautiful.
Okay, so aside from the food,
Okay, I think I've never seen a coral before this trip, so like I've seen them in movies, like chasing coral and other things, but it's been pretty incredible to actually learn about all the different kinds and see ocean things. So that, and also the relationships that I'm forming with people. I feel like I've made really good friends and connected with people in a way that I don't feel like I have the opportunity to do when I'm not on a ship and isolated with people. So I've really loved and appreciated that. And the sunsets, but mostly the Oreos.
It's a very interesting concept, hey? Like working with the same people that you're also living with, that you're also eating every meal with.
Yeah, it's nice that people are good people out here.
Yeah.
Yeah, certainly.
People make the trip, really.
So true.
I think that's one of the hardest things to convey to people who've never done any work at sea, when you're like, yeah, you're living with 40 to 60 other people in a 200-foot long space. It's really important that everyone get along, and people have a really hard time grasping just how close quarters it can be on a ship.
Yeah. Every place is a shared space. And everybody needs to get away from each other sometimes. So it's like a very chivalrous dance of, I'll be here while you're there.
yeah, you can't really find refuges in space. You have to find refuges in time. You have to be active when no one else is.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
in the middle of the night. If you want nobody to bother you, right? Just be up when no one else wants to be up.
Refuge in time, that's a cool poetic statement.
Yeah, I like that.
Or you could always go to the forward hold and sort t-shirts like I did tonight, which was awful. I mean, it was like 100 degrees in there.
Oh my God.
That is certainly somewhere where people don't want to be.
Yeah. Or the winch hold, right? It's always free there, really.
Yeah.
Nobody's ever in the winch hold.
So we just need to rebrand it. It's not the forward hold, it's the ship's sauna.
I mean, it wasn't that far off. I was in there hunting for a particular size of vest for a couple of crew members who didn't get one on the initial pass, and my little like Fitbit watch was like, you are well into the aerobic zone right now, just from like sweating.
Oh no.
It's like, thanks watch for letting me know I might be in danger.
Is there like a ship store? Would it be possible to get like a Nautilus t-shirt for someone?
We could probably talk to some people who might be able to make that happen.
Cool.
Depends on what size. If it's a medium, I think you're out of luck.
Yeah.
I think it would be a large.
I know they sort of thought about selling merch before, but then you've got to think about the infrastructure that it takes to manage that with somebody who's mailing all of that stuff and ordering new ones. And
Yeah, that'd be a lot of added tasks to something that is already challenging.
right. So I think Nautilus has sort of erred on the side of let's stick to finding corals on the bottom of the ocean and devote efforts to that end.
Yeah, the NOAA ships, when they sell shirts, it's usually a crew-driven effort, and that's the crew will get together and design them and then sell them to scientists and others on board, and that's a fundraiser for their like shore leave fun activities. So
That's cool.
Yeah, it's like that with the Yonal ships, but it's usually like for snacks or movies to buy. But then again, I started in a COVID world with them, so it might have just been coincidental. It might have been shore leave at one point.
UNL ships are, what does UNL stand for? I always forget.
University National Oceanographic Laboratory System.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so any university that has a oceanographic ship or platform.
And they can be any of the sort of, I call them like battleship class, like the massive ones, like the Thompson down to...
Yeah, those are the global, right? Global
Yeah.
class, and includes regional, regional class?
Yeah, that sounds right. Regional class.
RCRV, I'm having a blackout.
Regional class
No,
research
you're
vessel.
right. Yeah, that's what it stands for.
God, I worked there. I'm like, it used to be right there.
You're acronymed out. You got
Yeah.
just one too many,
So
right?
what time is it? 2:43 a.m. It's all right. I forgive myself. Regional class research vessels. So that's like the URI's Endeavor, which will be replaced by the Narragansett Dawn that they're making. Oregon State University has the Tawny, or they're gonna have the Tawny. They have a ship now, but they're getting a new one also.
Right.
There's Gilbert Mason, Sally Ride.
Walton Smith.
Yeah. Rachel Carson. Lots of them. Lots of platforms for oceanographic science. I liked working on the Endeavor because it's not a platform that can do ROV work. Like, it doesn't have DP, and the winches don't have fiber in their cables. But it does a lot of other types of oceanographic work, so you get to see the other types of tools. And then think about, like, because I'd already done this, think about in what ways could those ideas be translated to something like this, or like hybrids of stuff, and get different objectives met using different technologies.
When were you sailing on Endeavor? I just sailed on it in 2018.
I started March 2020,
Oh, okay.
the week that we shut down for COVID.
Wow.
Yeah.
Dang.
And I stopped working there last year.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
That would have been wild if we were like on the same ship or something.
Yeah, totally.
And then
Where are you based out of, Chanel?
Arizona State University.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Yeah.
What kind of cruise was it?
It was a transit cruise. I went through a program called STEMCES
Oh,
where,
yeah.
STEMCES is so awesome. That's
Yeah.
actually like what got me into studying microbiology and oceanography. Because I'm from Iowa, it like never really felt accessible. So yeah, I like that. I like that ship. It has really nice memories.
Oh, good. Well, I'm based in Rhode Island, so if you ever end up there, we can.
Oh, that's cool.
And that's the thing about being at sea too, is like now you have global friends, you know.
Yeah.
Everywhere you go, you're like, oh, I know somebody here, and like everybody's usually, you know, trying to link back up in some way with a shipmate.
It's nice.
It's like your own Airbnb network.
Yeah.
A lot
So
of
true.
couches
Yeah.
to sleep on.
Flop house.
Yeah, it's kind of a double-edged sword. I did an internship in the Canary Islands for a while, like a volcanology one, and then I studied in India for a while, and like I made such incredible friends, which was really cool. But it also means my incredible friends are in like Spain and India.
Yeah.
So it's, yeah, it's exciting. But I also wish that it wasn't $1 trillion to go see them.
I know. I totally relate.
In science, there are conferences and symposia, and when I started going to those, I was amazed at how much they were basically like these big reunions of friends. They get together and present papers and research findings and everything like that, but they also just hang out and talk.
That's the nice thing about being in a relatively small field of science like deep sea coral is those meetings aren't so big that they're overwhelming. They're actually the perfect size and everyone knows everyone.
Yeah.
Some of the big meetings like ocean sciences can be, 5,000 to 10,000 people.
Oh my gosh. I think AGU is like that too.
Yeah.
So overwhelming.
Very large.
Yeah, AGU gets up to 30,000, 40,000 sometimes.
Yeah.
And this year, they decided to pick Chicago in the middle of December, so that's going to be fun.
AGU is American Geophysical Union.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow, Chicago in December. That's going to shock everybody. That's not from the north.
Yeah, it was in San Francisco and then New Orleans, and now, yeah,
Dang.
we'll see how long this lasts.
I mean, Chicago is nice, and it is very pretty in the winter, so.
Yeah, yeah.
I do kind of miss the snow. Only a little bit, just a little bit. It's nice to visit.
Yeah, I love snow, but I've never had to drive.
In it.
Yeah.
You want to hear something silly? It's
Always.
a little off topic, but you reminded me when you said snow. The first time I ever went like anywhere that wasn't where I'm from, I went to like my first trip by myself, young adult, first trip by myself. I went to the U.S. Virgin Islands, and it's a mountain, okay? So you're driving around and all these like driveways are super steep because they're on a mountain. And I was like, your salt costs must be astronomical when it snows.
Oh my gosh, I have those thoughts too.
Because that, I was just putting my perspective there.
How are you going to get anybody to plow this?
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
like, this is really incredible. I said it out loud to the taxi driver, and he was like, okay.
Okay, yeah. I had the same thing in Phoenix. There's like this neighborhood that is like in this mountain kind of. So the roads are like super, super steep. And the whole time I was just thinking about like, well, you have some black ice in the morning and like you're done for. And it's like, you're in Phoenix. It's like 115 degrees.
I'm like, yeah, that's not something we worry about here.
Yeah.
Like, Raj.
Being from the Pacific Northwest and moving to Miami for graduate school, I didn't really think about that it does actually for about 1 week a year in February drop down into the 30s there. And that's where you get like iguanas raining from the trees and all kinds of things.
Whoa.
Dang.
Really?
Yeah. They get so cold they go into this torpor and then they fall out of the tree.
Whoa.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm from Miami, and I remember one winter, it was like a die-off of iguanas because it was just so cold. And yeah.
So
But
upsetting.
it was just like cold for like 3 days, and this happened. Like, it was crazy.
Yeah.
Are iguanas like the squirrels of warm weather?
Not really. I mean, they're kind of like the giant lizards of warm weather.
Falling out of trees, I mean. Are they the same size though, approximately?
No.
Oh, they can be big.
Like
They
big
can be
how?
quite
How
large.
big?
Like 3 feet long.
Whoa! Out of a tree?
Yeah.
Yep.
That's a hazard.
That'll give you a
When did that
headache.
come on as a weather alert? Like, sorry.
You get like nice cold warnings down there because I didn't think about this till I lived down there, was that like a lot of the houses don't have heat. So when it gets cold for those few days, it gets cold.
Yeah, it's not like bringing iguanas inside is going to help them out.
Yeah, I have a friend who actually their grandmother's house has like they have a garage, and I guess there was like a opening on the side, so like now there's just like an iguana living in the garage. So like I guess if it was cold, they might be okay because it's pretty hot in that garage.
That checks out.
Guess you don't have a problem with spiders or other insects in a garage with an iguana.
Oh yeah, true.
Raj.
Did you encounter scorpions when you were backpacking the Grand Canyon?
I hope not. I did not, although I did very carefully check my shoes every morning.
Yeah.
How
And
big do how big do scorpions get?
There's 2 species down there, one that's little and one that can actually get 5 or 6 inches long. And the one that's little is actually the one that's trouble. Actually, the only place I've encountered scorpions was in the leaf litter in Miami, down around like Homestead. And if you get into the Pinelands, there's these like nasty black little scorpions.
Yeah, we have them all over the valley in Phoenix, and they apparently like palm trees. So like people will be attracted to areas with palm trees because there's no shade. It's like they feel really nice to be around. But then there's also a bunch of scorpions around there. And people you can always tell like who's new to the valley by like how they feel about palm trees. Anyone who's been there for a while is like they're the worst. You're gonna find a scorpion there.
Yikes. There were these ancient animals called sea scorpions. That I don't think they're chelicerates, but they were like these. I guess a eurypterid. Does that sound right? 6 feet long and just like absolutely lethal. Like if those things still existed, you could have my dive gear. I would give it to you. You could just take it. I'm never going in the ocean.
I'm gonna look it
Yeah,
up.
the Carboniferous had the coolest bugs.
Those are horrible.
Yeah, so...
Ew.
Oh, do you guys just look one up?
Ew, I hate it.
Oh yeah, the sea scorpion?
It's so awful.
I mean, I think that's pretty much the rules of the Cambrian and Precambrian ocean and the early Carboniferous. All the prehistoric oceans is just not a place you would want to swim.
No. Yeah, during the Carboniferous, land plants kind of took over all the continents, so oxygen levels went through the roof. And insects can't breathe. They don't have lungs. They kind of just passively take in oxygen. And so they're limited in size by how much atmospheric oxygen is. And when it's high, they can grow up to things like 8-foot plus centipedes, and 4-foot dragonflies.
Stop.
And 6 feet scorpions. There's a sea scorpions too did eventually make it onto land, and they will be in swamp areas as well.
I hated everything you said in that list.
Yeah,
It
I
just
don't
kept
like this
getting
at all.
worse and worse.
You can have cockroaches that are like almost a foot long.
Oh my. I'm good.
I'll send you some fossil
No,
photos.
I would hate that if you did that. Please no.
Everything about that period is the worst, except for Dunkleosaurus, who's awesome. Dunkleosaurus, sorry.
Yeah, the giant prehistoric fish with giant teeth.
Yeah, it had an armored skull.
The placoderms.
Yeah.
The good old days.
Back in my day, you can ride a dragonfly.
We haven't run into any, I guess, abyssal giants.
Abyssal giants?
Yeah, or not abyssal, but I guess, you know, giant forms of other animals that, you know, have cousins that are
Yeah, that's a good question.
smaller up here. They get bigger in the deep sea. I'm not being very eloquent.
No, you're good. Well, deep seamount structures like this, you don't get fossils from, because they don't really preserve fossils through time, so we wouldn't really know these guys well. But, yeah, I don't think there's any particularly massive... I mean, crinoids were maybe a little bigger, but, like, most of these invertebrates are about the same size. Fish, you got huge fish, like Dunkleosaurus, we just mentioned, that placoderm, that can get something like 10 meters long. Massive. You have Megalodon, of course, famously, one of the most probably successful, except it went extinct, so it wasn't that successful. But Megalodon teeth are found in every corner of the globe.
Temporarily successful.
Yeah, at a time when they could easily eat whales and find what it needed to kill. Until the temperature dropped, it was very successful. But yeah, I don't think there's any good examples of invertebrates being larger in the past that I can think of. You did have pretty large ammonites, so squids with like big fossils, not fossils, but big shells. You don't have those anymore. You just have the little nautilus. It's the only closest relative. But the problem is, of course, invertebrates don't, unless they have calcic skeletons, they don't preserve fossils well.
Yeah, there could have been a massive sea slug or something like that that just
Yeah.
left us a trail to follow, but no idea what it actually was.
Yeah, I think some of the largest invertebrate predators they've found so far maximize out at about 3 feet.
Yeah. I mean, going back to those carboniferous that everyone wants to hear more about, the millipedes that are like 10 feet long or 8 feet long, they didn't know that was an actual millipede fossil at first. They found just kind of these weird big depressions in like some of the rocks, and then eventually they found a large one that they can reconstruct all of its legs.
Nope.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, I'll drop one in the shared science chat.
I'm exiting out.
Yeah.
I don't even care if I miss information. I can't.
Data left the chat.
I think it was from Scotland or England.
You're yelling into my microphone.
Yeah, Kevin, I guess I was talking about contemporary species that have massive examples that, you know, big that exist in the deep sea, like deep water isopods, for example.
Yeah.
Oh.
They're like, you know, like an isopod, backyard roly-poly or pill bug or potato bug, whatever you might call them.
I think the isopods today are as big as they've ever been, as far as I'm aware.
Right, but they can be about a foot in the deep sea? So
You can get giant amphipods as well.
maybe that's what I was thinking, amphipods, not isopods.
Oh no, there's both. There's giant amphipods and giant isopods.
Yeah, they get up to 30 centimeters long, the isopods.
They have some now in a touch tank at the Monterey Bay Aquarium.
Oh, no,
Really?
thank you.
Yep.
Like a deep sea one?
Yeah, they had part of their new deep sea exhibit.
They are actually kind of cute.
Oh, that's cool. So they can withstand the pressure change, or I guess they're acclimated to life in an aquarium.
Yeah, they don't have any of the gas bladders that would cause a problem. So apparently they're doing well.
Huh, cool.
If you want to know of an organism that isn't horrible, there's these things called protaxites, and it's a fungus, and they get incredibly tall, like 3 feet wide and 8 meters tall, and they found fossils for them, but there's like artist renditions, I think that's how you would say that, and they look pretty gnarly, so would highly recommend looking those up instead of the centipede.
Tell me again what it was, and tell me again how it's not terrible.
Protaxites.
Because I missed that part. I heard
What?
3 feet across and 8
Oh,
meters tall.
because it's like it's a fungus. Like it can't come and crawl to you and.
You know how funguses and humans always go together really well. So imagine that, but 3 feet tall.
Super great. Wow. You know, that's fair. That's fair.
In modern times, another place you get kind of giant invertebrates is at the Antarctic.
Oh.
You get really large sea stars, huge jellies, and these really long, like 6, 7, 8 foot long Nemertean worms.
Oh, nice. Don't you get giant sea spiders there too?
You
Yep,
do,
giant
in fact.
sea spiders there too.
Yeah, those are nasty.
What makes them, what allows that there?
There's a couple different theories, actually. It turns out I spent 2 months with a team of researchers who study that specifically.
Really?
Yeah, in Antarctica. And there are a couple different thoughts on that. One is that the water is so cold there, and that gases dissolve better in super cold fluids, so that the oxygen levels are higher in the water down there, and therefore an organism like a sea spider that doesn't have a respiratory system, operates mostly on diffusion, can basically like get bigger and have more oxygen diffuse deeper into their tissue at the same rate. So that was one thought. And another thought, the other side of that is that the temperatures are so low, their metabolic needs are lower. They're kind of just operating at a much lower, rates of all the chemical reactions in their bodies.
Interesting.
Yeah. And then another thought that they had was that because there's no primary productivity really, or there's very little primary productivity in the wintertime in Antarctica, it's sort of in the best interest of an organism to be able to physically move to limited food sources as rapidly as possible, and bigger organisms can move faster. So those are all things that the research team that I was working with down there, I was sort of embedded as a teacher, learning a lot about physiology, doing some scuba diving to collect these animals and bringing them back into the lab.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's so freaking cool.
It was really, really, really cool.
Yeah, if you Google giant Antarctic sea spider, the first thing that comes up is Tim Dreyer's hand covered in spiders.
Is it?
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of wild. No, because like when the researchers published their papers maybe a year later, I'd taken some really cool pictures that got released with their press releases. And when, you know, web outlets like IFL Science translated the titles of these papers from something like respiratory gut peristalsis in, you know, in a giant Antarctic sea spider into like freaky Antarctic sea spiders breathe through their guts, right? Like that's how they
Yeah.
translated it, right? Like they used the pictures that I'd taken with all of that stuff, and that kind of went viral. So my 15 minutes of fame was having a bunch of my pictures in things like The Atlantic and National Geographic's online, and
That's awesome.
That's rad, yeah.
yeah, it was just sort of something that I was kind of doing on the side when I was down there, was taking pictures. But anyway, they haven't really nailed it down yet about what, you know, why is that? Like what is it about either, you know, cold or deep water that ooh, jelly. It's like, ooh, a squirrel. That allows these organisms to get big. So it may be a combination of all of those things.
That's so cool.
So Tim, what is your favorite excursion you've been on?
Wow. Nautilus is, you know, definitely high up there. Going to Antarctica was really, you know, once in a lifetime experience too. So I've been really fortunate. It's funny, when I was a scientist, I didn't really have a lot of the opportunities to travel and see really cool stuff. It's once I became a teacher that I started. It turns out that there's a lot of funding out there for classroom teachers to go and work with researchers and explorers and you know, kind of get a sense of what it actually means to be in the field. So I started applying to those things, and you know, I got rejected a lot because they're like, you've done this already. But then in other cases, Nautilus's Science Communication Fellowship, for example, was like, oh, well, you're a really good communicator. As a teacher, you can take that information that you know, you could translate respiratory gut peristalsis into sea spiders breathe with their freaky guts. Or breathe through their freaky little legs or something like that. I forget what the title is. But yeah, that's the yeah. So there's a lot of organizations out there that really want teachers to be involved. The National Science Foundation, for example, has an entire program called Research Experience for Teachers that actually will pay like an addendum, I guess. I forget what it's called, but it's basically an add-on to if you have an NSF grant, you write a couple-page application to have a teacher come work with you for part of their summer break, and they get paid, and you get extra money too as the researcher. So it's sort of a win-win. You get, you know, essentially help, an extra set of hands in the lab, somebody who's theoretically reliable, has attention to detail, mature, right? And they get that experience that they can bring back to their classrooms and help inform their instruction.
Yeah, NOAA has a great both a Teacher at Sea program that sends teachers out on the various surveys that NOAA does all over, including like up in Alaska. We've had teachers go out on the trawl survey, teachers go on the rockfish survey, and then a Teacher in the Lab program that brings teachers into like our research labs.
I'm writing that down right now.
Making me think I want to be an educator.
Yeah, it's been an interesting couple of years. Last 2 years
Oh,
being in
Yeah.
schools. But I find it a very rewarding career.
Yeah, how was it? You were teaching virtually, right?
Yeah, for 12 months. Or,
How
I mean, minus the summer break, but yeah.
how was that for you? Do you feel like it was kind of rewarding, like learning how to create like these virtual experiences for your students?
Yeah, I think for me, I'm always sort of switching things up, which is a lot of work, but I'm always just kind of like, oh, this could be better. So when we went to virtual instruction, I was sort of game for it. I think it was a lot harder on the other teachers that, really plan. I plan a lot. I kind of have a rough outline of where I'm going, right? For my classes, other people know exactly which handout to hand out when, and I think that was really tough for them because you're, up all night preparing and then trying to motivate students to participate in online classes that, I was really fortunate to be in a district that could get everybody a Chromebook. So, and some of our local internet providers, or our local internet provider basically gave free Wi-Fi routers to people that needed them. I mean, so
That's
it was,
good.
yeah, it was definitely challenging, for sure.
Yeah.
And there's really not a lot of substitute for hands-on experience, so it's kind of tough to do laboratories and those sorts of things that I love about science.
Yeah, I was in my teacher residency program for my master's during the pandemic.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it was like I was taking classes myself and then teaching high school biology students virtually. So it was like I was on the computer all day, like 24/7 it felt like. But yeah, I just thought it was so innovative. Like we're all just trying to figure it out. Like how do we give our students these experiences even though they're not in the classroom with us? So it was cool like Googling like online lab experience and photosynthesis, like just all these like online experiences. Yeah, so definitely challenging, but I feel like I learned a lot about just teaching with what you have, I guess. And
Right, and I mean, particularly for somebody who went through a teacher training program during that period, you're, you're just going to have so many different skills to draw on that I think maybe somebody who hadn't had that experience won't like. All right, looks like we're getting to where we're going.
The dive-long oxygen profile is really, really nice there.
Yeah, you can clearly see the oximum minimum zone around 500 meters in this area, where it just like drops by like 30% and then shoots up right afterwards to, atmospheric levels. Curious if we'll see that. We'll probably have the last dive of the cruise beyond Johnston Atoll in a shallow area. Should be a lot of life. I'm curious what kind of variations you get over that 500-meter bump.
Even though I don't think we'll see a lot of coral, I am looking forward to our next dive, just because I think it'll be so geologically interesting.
Yeah, definitely. It's a weird structure.
Tell us more about it.
It's basically, I think it's a fracture zone where part of the ocean crust kind of split and pulled upwards. So it's a big chunk of ocean crust all the way down to potentially down to the mantle that got pushed upwards. And so we're going to be going on the topmost part of it. So we should see some ancient oceanic, mid-ocean ridge style basalts, pillow basalts and stuff. And then it kind of has a flat top. So we'll scoot around the lips and be able to see if there's any kind of unique colonies down at, high depths, 3,400, 3,500 meters below sea level.
Yeah.
That is abstract art at its finest. I like how the ear is the last thing that's left over there.
It's important.
Now we're getting into some midwater biology.
I feel like we should bring like a big turkey leg and then have the Herc just hold it out in front of the camera and see what kind of comes up to it as we ascend.
If you put it in the dive plan, I think it could happen.
We would see which animals are not adverse to large sounds, loud sounds, and bright lights. So who is the hungriest, I suppose?
Wouldn't that be interesting if you just like kept, if the experiment was to see how much incentive got them to check out the, like, how much bait was incentive to overcome sound and light?
Yeah.
Like keep increasing the pot, like
Lottery of the fish.
just like offer more and more special desirable prizes. Something in the bubble camera. There it is. What kind of fish are those?
I'm not sure. I think I've seen a couple little lanternfish. These might be bristlemouths. And then there's been some squid as well.
Oh, yep. Okay. I don't know anything about it. Which,
Oh, there's a good little squid.
Yeah, it's nice and
Funny thing is, it might not actually be that little. It might just be far away.
oh. Come closer. I'm always amazed how many critters in this zone, essentially just massive stuff. The best way I can describe them.
How about we hold at 100 then? Yeah. And my wrist? Oh.
I love these little squids shooting like, they look like little rockets.
Better. Zero my Z pass now. Roger. Okay, then let's look around. I'm not sure. Hopefully not. Yeah. Be good. Yeah, that's true. Sorry.
So snappy now. Huh. Yeah.
Oh, look at that cute little guy.
Posing and everything.
Oh, that doesn't look good. Okay, well. The ladder there. No, I'm I'm set at a auto depth right now. So you just have a -5 delta.
Big old massive stuff. Hmm.
Sorry? Oh, yeah, Raj. GoPro on the head. Yeah.
On up. Bridge, Jack, are we cleared for recovery?
Clear to proceed with recovery.
Breach nav, reduce thrust to 25%.
Roger, reducing till 25. Now.